and captivating pottery for your home decorations, look no further than Warehouse Creation. This local business here in Rome makes fun pieces of pottery like this wizard piece right here, and they can make multiple pieces like simple pieces, complementary pieces, functional pieces, and everything for your home decorations. So if you want to find out more, check out their YouTube channel, their Facebook, their Instagram, and check out their website. And thank you again. Back to the episode.
Welcome back to the Preferred Podcast. All right, here with our special guest.
Hey, I'm Grant.
And this is
Luis.
I'm Eddie.
Today's Halloween. This is a special treat. We're going to be talking about aliens. So,
Aliens.
Grant, you believe in aliens?
Yes, I do.
All right. What about you?
I personally don't believe in aliens too much.
Okay.
I know the existence of UFOs and everything, but I just don't believe in aliens.
Interesting. What about you, Eddie?
Before I give my opinion, first I want to ask why, and then I want to respond to you. So
Why?
why?
Because there's multiple documented points in history where it's just like just being humans is not like a valid explanation for certain things, which we'll go over more in the podcast.
Yeah, we'll
So,
talk about it
And
later.
as for you, so
I
why?
feel like because there's not enough evidence to prove that aliens have existed. Like, yeah, of course there's UFO sightings, like right
Right.
now and everything, but that may just be like other countries just spying on us.
When we talk
Okay.
about the Dogon tribe, you're gonna have to explain how that one's not aliens.
Okay,
so.
yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about. Okay. We have
That's
Those
so later in
valid
the
points.
podcast.
Can't wait to dig into them, right?
So like my response to you is, okay, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to give you perspective. Like you can't believe or not believe something based on 100% proof. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at something, you don't know if it's real. If it's evidence, you
Yeah, I don't know
falsified.
about all the modern stuff. That's why I like to talk about historical stuff, where it's
Yeah.
like those things aren't as like common nature of like, oh, I saw an alien.
Yeah, like 'cause people
Because
say, oh, it's
yeah.
alien, but like it could be like just like the sun or something. You know what I'm saying? Could
Yeah,
be,
Yeah.
there are
people-
some modern cases that I do think are real, which we'll go over a little bit later.
Right.
But
So,
I
Grant,
think
you
we
mentioned the Dogon tribe earlier.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Okay, so the Dogon tribe, they were one of the best astronomers of like all time. NASA still uses their maps. They're a little outdated now, but 10 years ago they were like the maps to use. So the thing that's so strange about that though is they knew about this one specific star that was called Sirius A and Sirius B. So Sirius A and Sirius B is two stars, but one of which is inside that star, and with the human eye you couldn't see it. Even with a telescope, we could go out and buy the technology, the best technology that we can buy as common folk, and look at the stars, and we would not be able to see it. We would have to have NASA level technology to see it.
Interesting.
And they only
have
had
this on their maps? Like
they had this on their maps that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, and they had these stone carvings of these alien-like creatures or beings that were not human-like throughout their village, and drawings of them making peace with these alien-like beings. So here's what I'm getting at: how did these people who had at best telescopes see this Sirius A and Sirius B and mark it on their map, where it confused us for years and years? We were like, "What is this that they have marked right here?" And only 10 years ago did we actually know what they were talking about.
That's an interesting point. How do we know though, right? You say the Dogon tribe was hundreds of years ago, right?
Yes.
How do we know that hundreds of years ago these stars weren't brighter?
These
And they
stars
could just
weren't
see them?
brighter?
Yeah.
But it's a star inside of a star. That's the thing.
Okay,
Oh.
but why does it relate to aliens? Like I'm not.
Because here's the thing. How the thing I'm basically getting at is these aliens came and made peace with this tribe, and they gave them very well star maps, because of course the aliens have been able to be up in space and see the stars. So basically what I'm getting at is they gave them maps of the stars and our solar system, and that's how it was so well documented and so well done, because it was the best star maps that we've had for like ever, until NASA recently has had better star maps with better technology. But
Interesting.
yeah.
Dogon tribe. Doesn't that sound like Adobe? Isn't that like a
Yeah,
software?
it does sound like it.
Yeah.
But explain to me how they possibly could have marked that on their map when it confused us for so long.
I mean, you never
I
know.
don't
really,
know, man.
'cause,
You know, like
people-
ancient like maps from like Plato and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's like Antarctica on there, right? But Antarctica wasn't like discovered till the 1940s or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, that
Oh,
could
wait,
be that could be
1840s
another
maybe?
point. That's the
Yeah.
thing. That could be another point.
It's
of them telling
interesting. It's
us.
interesting.
But
Maybe
by
we just
evidence- by
messed up,
evidence,
you know.
though, But by evidence, I don't mean like there hasn't been a physical like alien, like, you know what I'm saying, like
Well,
a
the-
body of like a body was never recovered.
Well, recently there has been.
Mexico.
Yeah,
They
Mexico,
say so.
but Mexico,
They say so.
Mexico, that has been that was brought up by a journalist that was known to have some shady things and lied about a lot of stuff in the past. So I don't hold that true because that alien has as unlike what's it called a lot of unknown DNA.
Yeah.
It claimed it had eggs in it and everything, and you know what I'm saying. It's just overall it was debunked. So that thing was not real.
Well, here is a more recent cover up that I would talk about. Have you ever heard of the Roswell incident?
No.
The name sounds
Oh, yeah,
familiar.
So
yeah,
basically,
it's the Mexico.
this weather balloon, this is the government story, crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. And this farmer came out and saw it. He called the police came out and saw it, and then the military was called in and they saw it. And everyone who saw it that day, they said that they saw small, like 4-foot tall alien bodies, and they picked up this material that was like a metallic material, but it was as thin as paper, and you could fold it like paper. And it was nothing from this world that any of them have seen. The
Not
military
tinfoil or anything.
What?
Nothing.
It wasn't tinfoil, no.
That's a
Sounds a
But
little bit like tinfoil.
what if it was from another country? What if it was
Yeah,
China?
facts.
Or what if it was Russia spying on us?
Here's the thing, though, that makes this.
doors?
Okay, well, here's the thing that makes this suspicious with the government, though. The military general, he went and he told the press, he was like, "This is not something from this world. We still need to investigate further. I don't have all the answers that you would wish, but here's the one thing I can assure you: this technology is not from this world."
Okay.
And then 24 hours later, he was forced to recount his statements and then take a picture of him crouching down next to a weather balloon, saying that it was a weather balloon. And how did all these people who saw it said this is nothing from this world, this isn't a weather balloon, and there's 4-foot tall dead bodies next to it?
It does sound like a cover-up story.
It sounds
does.
like it's known as the largest government cover-up because it's still very suspicious. There's a lot of things because they tried to explain the bodies as being like these test dummies, but the test dummies did not add up. They were like 5 foot
It's
tall.
interesting. When did you say this happened? You said.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
It was a
Yeah,
while
that was
ago.
a while ago.
Yeah.
I heard that.
It's
But-
interesting you mentioned that because speaking of cover-ups, right? When did aliens become popular? Like, just the theory of them coming and visiting us. You
I
know?
have no idea. Since I've been
like
around,
1940s, 1950s,
Yeah.
right?
I think it was around the Cold War.
Yeah.
I mean, it
'Cause
probably goes further.
when did World War II end? You know, it's 1945, right? It's like it's kind of suspicious. Like all these
Yeah.
bombs dropped, right, and then aliens start coming around. Why do you guys think that is? Like it's just weird, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird. So before I get into my next point, I just want to say like when something strange happens and there's like no explanation, people throw around the word alien. Okay, it's because it's like the easiest excuse. There's 4 reasons people like claim it's aliens. 1, they're either crazy. 2, they either see something and then they're deceived by it.
Yeah.
3, they either genuinely see it, or 4, they're they're deceived. So they see something like I don't know what that is, but like they're deceived by like people around them. So they said it, I'm gonna believe in it too.
It's true. There's like peer pressure too. You ever like seen those like social experiments, whatever? It's like some people just look up, like pretend to see something, and everybody else will start doing it like they do too. Like there's that too.
Yeah.
It's just like the word alien itself. It means like something or someone from like a foreign nation or country.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to know is why it was associated with like why does it mean extraterrestrials now?
That's an interesting point. Luis, bro, you look like you have something on your mind.
I have something on my mind.
What's up?
Like a lot of you saying like oh you know like UFOs and aliens and spacecrafts because you know recently a lot of naval pilots have come out and testified and said that they've seen actual like weird tic-tac shaped objects flying around in the skies and everything. And even the government has made a task force to figure out what these things
the
are
Space Force.
because the UAP task force, I forget what it actually means, but it's a task force to figure out what these unidentified objects are. Which I do believe that a lot of these sightings, like I said earlier, are just countries spying on us. Like people just like to exaggerate things and make things, sound supernatural.
What country do you think is spying on us?
Probably China. You seen the air balloon?
Remember the
Yeah,
China air balloon?
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah.
That is
That was
true,
this year,
right?
no?
But I mean,
Was
aren't
it this
they
year?
the most advanced military in the world? I thought.
Maybe
That's
not.
up for
I don't
debate.
know.
Maybe
'cause
not.
It
That's
may
up for
be.
debate.
It may be half of the time. Maybe our own, spacecrafts and planes. Like
Here's
Jets
another
and
thing that
everything.
was a recent discovery of scientists. So they've discovered another galaxy that isn't in our galaxy, and it has a planet on it that is just like Earth. It could be suitable for humans. We could go there and live on it now.
The
only
Goldilocks
thing
zone.
is
You ever heard of that?
What?
Is it in the Goldilocks zone? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know exactly the zone or
Okay.
anything like that. I'm not well versed in these terms.
Okay.
But we could go live on it like right now. The only thing is we die before we got there because of how long it would take us to get there.
Right.
But the thing is that's another very suspicious thing because what if that planet has more futuristic technology? They figured out more stuff than us, and those are where aliens hypothetically are coming from or something like that. But the thing is no one can really argue anymore that there's not another planet that would be suitable for life because that's just untrue. It may
Yeah.
not be in our galaxy, but there are other planets.
I mean, even in our solar system, like look at Mars. Mars could have once been habitable for life. Like it's not anymore, obviously. But
and we could make it habitable for life if we got the right technology
yeah,
on
you
there.
heard
We're
what
trying
Elon
to-
Musk wants to do?
Elon Musk wants to make civilizations on Mars.
He wants to nuke the poles because it'll create an atmosphere and it'll like heat everything up enough that we could live on it. Like it's gonna be like super like full of nuclear waste for like 100 years or something.
Yeah,
But
it's
he's
not
like,
happening in our lifetime.
Yeah, no, not in our lifetime. But he wants to do it, man. Like he's like serious.
It'll be full of radiation, nuclear
Well,
waste.
he also has this plan too because like nuclear power plants and stuff that they create nuclear waste, obviously, right? Nuclear waste is recyclable, like almost 100% now. So he's like, we could redo it over and over and over and just create it, make it habitable. Just bury the waste in like the sand and everything. Yeah, like it could work. And I'm like, okay, it's interesting
Yeah,
theory.
it could be like Chernobyl too.
Speculation.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, oh, planet Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, here's another instance. So the Roman Empire, they had a very well-versed library. They documented a lot of what they did. They were one of the best They were one of the best architecturally strong.
We still use their theories
we
and stuff
still
today,
use their stuff. They helped make the roads and
Like
all that
Pythagorean
stuff.
theorem, yeah.
Yes. So in their library though, there were they talked about these flying saucers in the sky that they saw.
Did you talk about the Library of Alexandria?
Yes, the Library of Alexandria. These flying saucers that they saw, and that was one of the few things that we could recover from the library. So the thing is, why would they be talking about
What
these
happened
things?
to this library? Did it burn?
I think it burned down. I'm not quite sure. The Library of Alexandria is in Egypt, but the Romans still used it. So I'm not
it's
sure.
because King Alexander, right?
Yeah. mhm.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, but for the Roman Empire, with them talking about these flying saucers that they saw in the sky, why would they be talking about this back then at the time? Like, what would be a flying saucer?
I mean, you got to remember these are the guys who thought that gods flew around in chariots.
Yeah.
So like
Well,
I don't know.
here's the thing that interesting theory that gets brought up. So you know we hear all these mythic folk tales of these gods flying in chariots or all this stuff. What if they were certain things that occurred? They just made up these stories around them to explain them because they didn't know how to explain them. That's a theory that's presented. That's more speculation. That's why I don't like to dive into that as much. But that is something I think is worth at least having a discussion about. So, yeah.
Interesting.
So you think this is basically? I mean, it could be just like touching like a folktale.
Yeah, but the flying saucers.
Because like nowadays people think Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? They think
and not a lot of people think Bigfoot's real.
But at one point, a lot of people thought Bigfoot, was actually a thing and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like people just like to base, just like to imagine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like nowadays, like back then, there was like a lot of evidence, or supposedly a lot of evidence of aliens existing, flying saucers. But nowadays, we don't see that stuff.
Well, we still see evidence, but a big thing is like the government cover-ups. Like there's a lot of very clear government cover-ups in history. Like with anyone who's said certain things about aliens where it seems like it could actually be a real story, typically they don't have you don't really hear from them again about talking about those questions or anything like that.
Yeah.
There was another story I would need to look into it again because I heard it a couple years ago. But this guy was like he was a part of this like lumberjack crew and they were cutting down trees in the woods and like one of them screamed and all of them just went missing and there were like these specific weird burns on like all of the trees in that area, like a circular area. And that one guy,
cornfield stuff too. Yeah,
cornfield stuff and stuff like that. But that one guy who did supposedly get abducted or whatever, he's not like you can't talk to him for questioning or anything like that. He told a story, and now where is he? So that's some hypotheticals of the government possibly covering it up back to the Roswell incident and
this
stuff
is all
like
stuff
that.
from the past, though, right? None of this is going on right now.
None of this is going on right now that we know of. But well, I mean,
it's interesting because one reason not to believe in aliens.
They could be covering it up though. The most recent incident that's really big I could think of is the Phoenix Lights. Have you ever heard of that?
I have. I heard that one was debunked though, isn't it?
Well, it's not debunked because it was the widest viewing of an unidentified flying object. Do we know that it was aliens? I don't know, but millions of people did look up and they saw these lights that were miles apart flying in a triangular fashion. So that's a very strange thing. I don't know if it was necessarily aliens or if they were all different saucers or something.
Well, you guys know about those drones that like create shapes in the sky or whatever?
Yeah.
Make you see stuff. Yeah.
But that was like way before
Really?
we had those like drones.
Like how far before? Because the U.S. military is estimated to be 50 to like 70 years ahead of the general public.
Yeah.
In technology, right? It's like during the Cold War, they had stuff that we have now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know about all that, but yeah.
No, it's like a real estimate.
So
like,
in the Cold War, they had. You're saying that they had what we have now in the Cold War?
some of it, yeah.
Some of it.
Well, it's been proven too. Have you guys ever heard of you know F-22 fighter jets, all right?
Mhm.
You ever heard of those, right?
Yeah.
You know what the Warthog is, right?
Yeah.
Warthog's been around forever, right? They used it in World War II, right? Been around forever. F-22s or whatever, right? They had the prototypes for them during the Cold War, right?
Okay, now let's say those are flying around. People probably thought those were
See
aliens.
what I'm saying?
So that's
What
what,
if-
that's what,
what
I'm
if-
basing. That's what I'm saying. Aliens
No, I
don't
could
really,
see the Phoenix Lights
See,
being.
I would believe that,
aliens
right?
don't really like. It's just basically it's either us or another country that's flying.
Yeah.
Like,
I would believe that,
objects.
right? And you know, them being a little bit ahead of us, you know, like the general public and everything.
Yeah.
I would believe that. Here's the thing, though: technology keeps getting better, right? I mean, take Google Maps for example, right? They take cameras from like everywhere right now and update like live as you're driving. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how far we've come, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and all these things about aliens, like UFOs, right? We don't really see them so much anymore. You know, what was the Phoenix Lights?
That was in the 2000s or the 90s.
Early
So,
2000s,
yeah.
90s.
Mhm.
I mean, that was like 20 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what's happened since then like that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you think with all this extra technology and stuff, if they were real, we would have seen them, you know?
Yeah, well, there has been people who claim to have seen it, but here's
Well,
the
nothing
thing.
like that, you know what I mean? Nothing.
Well, if they aren't real, back to the government. Why are they so secretive about their alien files that they have at Area 51? Why did they cover that up? Why
Do we
when?
know that they're alien files?
Yes, 'cause
Area
Donald-
51 is actually an aerial base.
Yeah, I know it is. But Donald Trump tried to have them release it when he was president, and they refused to. By a certain date, it was like before he was done with being president, he tried to have them release it by a certain date, and they refused to. So if that's the case, why are they covering it up so much? Why are they hiding it?
There could be a million reasons for that, though. We can't just say it's aliens.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
But here's
It's like
another
Abe said,
thing.
people like to throw the word around alien. Like
With the most recent, with all the aliens stuff that they're now releasing, why is it the case that when what happened with the government, like that plane crash or whatever? Did you hear about how that
What?
plane crashed, and then once that happened, everyone was trying to talk about it, but then they instead started talking about how aliens were real instead?
Maybe.
Did any of y'all hear about that? It recently happened. That's why they're talking about aliens. Some plane crash. They like completely closed off all the zones, and anyone who witnessed it isn't allowed to talk about it. And then they started releasing alien stuff. So it's like I feel like the government's trying to cover up something bigger with that by releasing like certain details on aliens.
the word aliens to get people talking about it to get distracted off of actual real
Off of
world
whatever
incidents.
that thing was. I definitely think that the government uses certain things
You can say
that
it's used for a
they don't
cover-up.
deem as
cover-up.
bigger as a cover up. So yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
So basically, yeah, to prove my point, aliens are just a cover up. It's fake.
No,
Boom.
no.
Yeah, you ever
that's
think
your
they
opinion.
use it like, you ever
I'm-
think they try and scare us with aliens sometimes? Like, if we ever get too close to stuff, you know? You ever think they just, like, send out, like, a flying saucer or something?
Just to distract us.
Just to
Yeah,
get
just
people
from
hyped.
the real- I
from
could
the
see
real
them
actual
doing it
countries,
as-
from actual
yeah.
countries that are trying to nuke us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You ever seen, like, the Aztecs? Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
ever seen, like, they have depictions of, like, spacecraft almost looking things, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, kind of weird, right? What if, I don't know, man, what if they saw some things, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if they did see some things, but you know, it's like they believe in a lot of they should sacrifice their people for their
Yeah.
God. So I don't know. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That's true, I don't know.
Well,
how true is it?
there's
Well, I
multiple
mean,
instances of
Think about this,
points
right?
and-
This just came to me. I'm not gonna lie. This just
Yeah.
came to me, right? You know how this like a stereotype thing or whatever? It's like aliens will abduct a cow or whatever. What if they used to abduct people? You know what I mean? And that was a sacrifice. Like they put them up on a pyramid so they'd be taken away. Just saying.
Oh.
Mad
But
crazy, right?
Normally they
That's
would
a lot of
sacrifice
speculation.
each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They did
But,
sacrifice
yeah,
each other,
that's
but
what
wasn't that considered an honor and everything?
Yeah, it was considered some of that.
Well, I feel like if you're getting to like sacrifice to aliens, that'd be a pretty big honor for the time.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So,
For the sake of knowledge.
I don't know.
yeah.
See-
Another thing is the what's that thing called? There's the Easter Island things, but there's also
We're saying though, right? Stonehenge and Easter
Yeah.
Island.
Those hedges are like, maybe I'm not thinking of the right thing. Those like those
Stonehenge-
rocks that are like just put up in a
They
field.
were
or-
rocks that are put up like this.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's another thing that scientists have talked about, how they wouldn't know how to hypothetically put those up with what they had
Well,
at the
here's
time,
thing about
technology
Stonehenge
wise.
too. Stonehenge. I don't know if you guys ever seen like bird's eye view pictures of it, right? It's out in the middle of nowhere. There's
Yeah.
no mountains, no stone, nothing anywhere near it. It's just grass. So like, how did that all get there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's very strange. And Easter Island as well. Are you familiar with Easter Island at
I
all?
am, yeah.
So that's another
You
instance where
familiar
it's
with
like
the legends they have there? Have you guys
Yeah.
heard about those?
where it's like they're underground or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the conspiracies
So,
involving that, but that's another instance of like something very strange where it's
Yeah.
like, how did humans really do that at the time? So yeah.
If you guys know about Easter Island, you guys know about it? You guys heard
It
about
sounds so familiar. It
So
really does.
Easter Island it's a strange island with a bunch of stone heads that are like facing out from the island, right?
Are those like when you say Stonehenge? Are those like the thing from like it's like it's like Squidward's house in SpongeBob?
Have you ever seen the movie Hawk?
I think they're called like.
Have you ever
So
seen the
that's,
movie
that's
Hawk?
Easter Island, right? Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Stonehenge is a circle of stones, gigantic stones.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called like God's
Oh, you said
building,
heads. I thought you
God's
said heads.
toy blocks.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's Easter Island.
That's Easter Island.
Sorry,
Okay,
did I
I'm
misspeak? I
just-
must
Yeah,
have
you
misspoke.
did
I'm
say
just- yeah,
Stonehenge.
That's
Yeah.
my bad. So Easter Island is a bunch of heads, stone heads, facing out from an island, right?
Mhm.
Stonehenge is a circle of stones. They look like blocks. They look like they were just put on top of each other like a giant did or something, you know?
Mhm.
Easter Island, though, right? It was recently discovered. I don't know when, but I think early 2000s, actually. But they learned that each of the stone heads is actually a whole body.
Yeah.
It's like each of them is like, it's like 13 feet tall, each one, 12 or 13
And it's
feet
like
tall.
underground, like the heads are
Yeah,
on
they're, like,
top and the
purposely
body's
buried.
underground.
And there's,
So,
That's like one of those pictures I saw of the pyramids. It's like,
Like-
y'all aren't ready for this discussion.
Yeah.
And it's like
it looks
it's
like
like,
an
the
obelisk.
entire
Yeah.
like underground is just like an entire column.
Have you ever?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever
That's
seen? So like, also Easter Island and Stonehenge are on opposite sides of the world, right? It's
Mhm.
like there's this thing that's like Stonehenge the head, and then I meant Stonehenge. Dang it, I mixed it up again.
yeah.
Easter Island, right, is the head, and then
Mhm.
Stonehenge is like the toes at the bottom,
Yeah.
just like a giant inside. It's weird. It's not the
that-
Earth. It's super
That's
weird.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm having second thoughts on
But-
if alien exists.
But either
We got
way, it's
Louise's
like
question.
they didn't
I'm
have
questioning my
helicopters to
reality.
lift these
I'm
stones
questioning
up.
my
It's
reality
like-
as we speak.
Yeah.
I'm probably, I'm just.
All right, guys, that concludes the podcast today. Thanks for tuning in. Really enjoyed having you. I think today's podcast is pretty good. What do you guys think?
I think it was a very good conversation. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I personally now believe in aliens. A little bit, a
We've
little bit
changed
more, a
Louise,
little
you guys.
bit more.
We've
Yeah.
changed his mind, guys.
That's
Little bit,
crazy.
maybe,
He's a
maybe,
believer.
maybe.
Today is the 31st of October. Just like to say happy Halloween to you guys, right?
Be safe.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching us today. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.